This week in Hampton Roads, we followed a Virginia Beach small business on the road to recovery after a devastating fire. We also covered several big changes coming to the U.S. Department of Education, as well as Affordable Care Act tax credits that could affect you and your family. And as immigration and customs enforcement agents make their way around the country, we covered the arrest of a high school assistant principal for allegedly making threats against ICE. Let's catch you up on This Week in Hampton Roads. We're learning more about the death of a 19-year-old.
Newport News police say Nevaeh Harris died last Tuesday, shot to death in an apartment on Warwick Boulevard. Court documents show what police say led up to Harris's death.
These are the Brennan Point Apartments in Newport News. It's the address where court records show 19-year-old Nevaeh Harris was shot. Newport News Juvenile and Domestic Relations court records show 21-year-old Kanye Smith is accused of Harris's death. A criminal complaint from Newport News police say they got a call on November 11th for reports of a shooting. Police say they found Harris in the doorway of the Brennan Point Apartments, and shortly after getting there, Newport News Fire Department medics said Harris passed away. After investigating, detectives found Harris and Smith were at Smith's mother's apartment. And in a sit-down interview at the Newport News Police headquarters, detectives say Smith's mother said Harris and her son had been arguing. The documents go on to say Harris tried to leave the apartment with her two sons, but before leaving, Smith's mother said Harris charged at her son with a knife. That's when documents say she heard a gunshot, saw Harris fall to the floor, and watched her son run out of the apartment with a gun. 2 days later, on November 13th, Kanye Smith showed up to the Newport News Police headquarters to give a statement. The documents say he agreed to speak with detectives. Smith told detectives he was fighting with Harris, she was threatening him with a knife, and that it was Harris who grabbed the gun. Smith alleges he was trying to take the gun from Harris and had his finger on the trigger and accidentally shot her before running off. But detectives say that's inconsistent based on Harris's wounds. The documents say police still haven't recovered the gun in this case.
Kanye Smith was also arrested for a domestic assault back in April of this year against Harris. We also asked him for an interview, but he declined. Smith is set to appear in Newport News Court on January 29th.
The weeks-long government shutdown is over, but as we report tonight, it wasn't the only source of uncertainty for food banks this year. Alex Littlehales reports on how federal policies in recent months have contributed to a food assistance loss for the region. Alex.
Well, as one food bank CEO told me today, people across the country and right here in Hampton Roads have been on what he's called an emotional roller coaster when it comes to the concept of food security. All day we have been, as you can see, highlighting our Neighbors Helping Neighbors food drive. But we can also report tonight how federal decisions, as you had just mentioned, well before this effort have contributed to a loss of food assistance for the area.
Food banks both across the country and in your backyard may still be figuring out how to account for a food supply shortfall.
Any food bank CEO understands that there are going to be times when resources go down, things have to change. But the reality of it is that it was cut after it was already promised.
This year, the Trump administration cut hundreds of millions of dollars in food assistance funding through what's called TFAP, or the Emergency Food Assistance Program. It's a program allowing food banks, like the Food Bank of Southeastern Virginia and Eastern Shore, to bid on surplus food.
And then the USDA provides bonus opportunities for us to secure food that is basically oversourced around the country, and so they need a way to get that food to us.
But for Chris Tan, that means 3 food supply shipments this May and June that were supposed to come never did, totaling $400,000 in lost food.
So the shipment is coming, and now it's not. And food banks don't have the power to kind of shift their resources that quickly.
And on the peninsula.
But we did not have any forewarning that the USDA commodities were going to be cut.
Bob Latvis says the Virginia Peninsula Food Bank lost even more.
And in total, of all the shipments that we had canceled, ones that were up for bid by the USDA but were not accepted, so in total it was about $700,000 that went away in terms of cost for food.
So in total, $1.1 million worth of canceled food shipments have hit Hampton Roads so far.
Yeah, it is worth noting that both of these food banks that we talked to today get between 12 to 33% of their food supply from resources through the federal government, which means any shortfalls in those categories mean that they need to be made up somewhere else. Reporting, I'm Alex Ablayles for 13 News Now.
Now we have new details about a homicide in Hampton.
On Saturday, Hampton police conducted a welfare check on Newport News Avenue and found 73-year-old Arthur Jackson dead. Madison Schlegel has more.
Hampton police now have a name of the man they believe killed Arthur Jackson. They believe that man to be Jackson's grandson, 18-year-old Kyron Jackson.
Records from Hampton Juvenile and Domestic Relations Court show Hampton police made a welfare check on Arthur Jackson Saturday. When police got to this house on Newport News Avenue, they tell us it was Jackson's grandson, 18-year-old Kyron Jackson, who opened the door. Documents show Jackson told police his grandfather was sleeping and wasn't able to come to the door. Jackson eventually let police into the home, where they found Arthur Jackson in a back room of the house, in bed, covered in blood and unresponsive. That's when a detective in the case says Kyron Jackson put his arms behind his back for officers to arrest him and told police he knew about what happened to his grandfather. The documents say Jackson admitted to both stabbing and shooting his grandfather. A neighbor who didn't want to be on camera says they're shocked to learn about Arthur Jackson's death.
For it to happen to him, it's crazy. I mean, he's by far the last person you would think anything would happen to.
That same neighbor recounting Arthur Jackson's kindness.
I mean, if you needed help cutting your grass, he was right beside you cutting your grass. If you needed something built, he was right there helping you build something.
In the criminal complaint, Hampton police were able to find the knife used, and Jackson also told detectives the gun he used was in the freezer. Documents say police were able to recover the gun.
Kyron Jackson is facing 2 charges, second-degree murder and use of a firearm in commission of a felony. Madison Schlegel, 13 News Now.
According to Hampton court records, Jackson is scheduled to have a bond hearing tomorrow. Tonight, a Virginia Beach business owner is starting over after a fire destroyed her business. Her wedding cake shop near the city's Hilltop area went up in flames late last month. Derek Lytle spoke with Deborah Miller at her storefront where the fire happened. And Derek, she told you she lost everything in a matter of moments.
Yeah, hey, Dana. Deborah Miller has owned her wedding cake and bakery business for nearly 4 decades in Virginia Beach, and she got a call from one of her employees that the building was up in smoke and she needed to get there immediately. It's an experience that has left her starting from scratch. A rainy October 29th morning brought a fire starting roughly at 4 in the morning, burning everything at Incredible Edibles in a matter of moments.
Kind of the worst thing, 37 years of your life is all of a sudden nothing.
Burnt cake stands and charred material lay where engaged couples used to come to pick out a cake for their special day. Miller says losing her business is an unexpected gut punch.
People go into shock. They get cold. They just, it was a cold morning, but still, I just couldn't stop shaking. I was sick to my stomach.
With orders piling up and weddings still on the calendar, she says they've moved into a temporary shared space to fulfill orders. She is worried, though, that her insurance claim will not be enough to rebuild long term.
If the insurance isn't enough to rebuild, then what? So, because they said I can't use any of the ovens, any of the mixers, any of the equipment is all gone.
She shares a message for people to double check what their insurance plan covers in the event of a fire or disaster. Stephen Bilski with the Red Cross says it's important to file your claim right away.
We talk to them, we ask about insurance, if they have it, we try to file your claim if you can.
The Virginia Beach Fire Department ruled the cause of the fire is undetermined. Miller, thankful no one was there at the time of the fire, and she holds out hope she will have answers on her insurance claim soon.
Count your blessings, because it can all be gone in a minute.
Now, Miller tells me she believes a couple of firefighters suffered minor injuries fighting this fire, and she is planning to thank them for what they do by dropping off some of her baked goods to their station. Derek Lytle, 13 News Now.
All right, thanks so much, Derek. The Virginia Beach Fire Department says the investigation into the fire is closed and would only reopen at the request of Miller's insurance company.
Apartment building went up in flames earlier this morning. Several people now are trying to figure out what comes next. We have Jeremiah Beatty, who is in Ocean View, with more on what she's learned from witnesses. Jeremiah.
Hey, good afternoon. I spoke with people who saw the fire this morning. One man tells me he was coming down Ocean View Avenue when he spotted the heavy smoke in the sky. He says that led him here, knocking on doors, making sure everyone got out safely.
One Good Samaritan says he never hesitated to get people out.
I didn't wait for anybody to answer the door, just knocked on every door I could.
He was driving down Ocean Drive Avenue when he saw heavy smoke coming from a 3-story apartment building on 9th Bay Street. As a former paramedic, he knew what to do, but he says getting people out was hard because there was only one exit.
I've already had a couple of residents tell me on the 3rd floor that they didn't know there was a fire, and I was the one that woke them up. I leave that up to my maker to figure out what would have happened, but I just know that I was able to let them know there was a fire.
The fire started around 7 o'clock Wednesday morning. Crews arrived to find the building in flames. We just learned 20 people are out of their homes and one person was taken to the hospital. Norfolk Battalion Chief Carrie Jones says her team moved fast.
It was a very active scene. There was a lot of smoke and fire. Our units were laddering the side and really trying to get in there.
One neighbor who lives across the street says some of his neighbors have nothing left.
Well, the guy that I talked to, he had told me that he woke up to his room on fire. That was kind of a scary thought to have. He said he just managed to get up there as soon as possible, but he said the only thing he had was the clothes on his back.
Residents are hoping the community can come together in their time of need.
And I said, hope everybody's okay and safe. And, and I told everybody, I said, once you lose something, God will give it back to you.
Now, Red Cross has been out here assisting families impacted by this fire. As far as what happened here, the investigation continues. Reporting in Norfolk, Jeremiah Beatty, 13 News Now.
Jeremiah, thank you. So sad to hear that happening to them as we're getting to the holidays as well. Of course, we'll bring you the latest information as we learn more about that situation.
Tonight, Virginia education advocates are reacting to the changes made to the Department of Education. The Trump administration announced it's moving some education department programs to other federal agencies. Layla Cox explains what's changing.
Today, the Department of Education finalized 6 agreements to outsource some of its workload to other parts of the federal government. Shifting duties away from the Education Department aligns with the Trump administration's goal to eventually close the agency, a move Virginia Education Association President Carol Bauer condemns.
There is a ripple effect, and the consequences of some of the actions we see now we will be feeling for a long time to come.
According to a DOE press release, the Department of Labor will play a larger role in administering programs and grants for K-12 schools, colleges, and universities. The Interior Department, which manages public lands, oversees national parks, and works to uphold trust amongst Native tribes, will now absorb more responsibilities related to Indigenous education, management of grants for college students with children, and the assessment of criteria necessary for foreign medical schools is now under the Health and Human Services Department's jurisdiction. Meanwhile, the Department of State will do more work related to foreign language and international studies. The Trump administration says the goal is to give states more power over education issues. But VEA President Bauer believes keeping the DOE intact is important, citing historical issues of segregation and inequality that existed in Virginia schools until federal authorities stepped in.
Having multiple agencies do things that used to be under one Department of Education just complicates it. I fully support having a Department of Education. I fully support the work that the Department of Education has done, and I fully support the need to make sure our students are serviced by the oversight that the Department of Education has provided.
Layla Cox, 13 News Now.
In a statement, Secretary of Education Linda McMahon says the interagency agreements were made to break up federal education bureaucracy and return education to the states. Virginia Beach Police Department is introducing a new addition to the team.
That's right, photojournalist Jason Walsh. He's not the new addition to the team. He just took us to meet Chip, their newest crime-fighting canine.
Chip, let's go to work. Come on. Seek.
We just recently acquired a electronic storage device detection dog.
Let's go to work.
His name is Chip. He is a yellow lab, and he is going to help us investigate crimes against children, violent crimes, sexual assault victims, human trafficking.
Let's go.
He is able to locate and sniff out small storage devices such as SD cards, thumb drives, cell phones. There's a special glue that is inside every one of these types of devices that he's been trained to sniff out.
Show me. Good boy. So right here in the corner, all black, couldn't see it. So the chemical is a TPPO. We can be in a room with tons of other distracting scents with food, anything else, and he's going to pick out that TPPO and bring us to its source. If I put down like a phone on the ground, he's not even necessarily going to think, hey, that's what I'm looking for. He's looking for the scent.
Show me.
What's there, he doesn't care about. He's worried about that scent and how it's flowing to him, and that's why he makes his way there.
Seek.
The biggest investigation that he's going to be a part of are ICAC investigations, which are Internet Crimes Against Children, and to be able to help those victims and to make sure that we don't miss any kind of devices that might have new victims on that we could potentially go rescue. I don't see that there's anything more rewarding than that.
He's such a good boy.
A Hampton veteran is getting a brand new roof. It's part of a program helping military families in need. Our Jeremiah Beatty captured crews in action.
Exciting day for this family. Eric Jones Sr., a loving father, Hampton Roads native, and Marine Corps veteran, is getting a new roof.
Well, this has been a blessing. It let people know that the veterans have not been forgotten.
Jones joined the U.S. Marine Corps in July of 1976, serving as a member of the military police as well as infantry. He has owned this home for more than 30 years, raising his two children, Crystal and Eric Jr. But like any aging home, years of wear and tear took a toll.
The roof, the condition that it was in, they had leaks and things in the past. I'm in Virginia Beach, so I'm on the south side, and my brother would say like, hey, something's going on, we have a leak, and I'm like, okay, give me more information.
That led Crystal to share her dad's story. That search brought her to the Home Genius program, a national program that provides new roofs at no cost to veterans.
And so it's just been a blessing to be able to help my dad and get him where he needs to go, and so we can continue to keep his house staying tall and strong.
A meaningful investment, they say, especially after losing their mother in 2015.
I wish she could have been here, to see this. This is the home we grew up in and the home that she made home.
The project was a team effort involving several partners, including Home Genius Exteriors, Greater Williamsburg Habitat for Humanity, and Peninsula Habitat for Humanity.
It's really important for us to be able to give back to those who gave to us and help, veterans who may not be able to get critical home repairs.
It's just one of those things that not everybody gets the chance. So we're just thankful to be a part of the program, thankful to be a part of such a good cause, and thankful to be here today.
In Hampton, Jeremiah Beatty, 13 News Now.
The Owens Corning Foundation donated all the roofing materials, and HGE provided the free labor. Crews tell us they hope to have the roof complete by 1 o'clock this afternoon.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, is cracking down on undocumented citizens here in Hampton Roads and across the country. Brianna Fallon spoke with local advocates who say it's important to know your rights if ICE comes knocking at your door. Brianna.
Dana, organizations across Hampton Roads are working to educate anyone worried about encountering ICE. Despite this, 2 immigrants who wish to stay anonymous for safety reasons say people in their community are scared to even leave the house.
I send them to my daughter to buy the groceries because I fear to go to Walmart or any store.
Constant fear.
It's really scary coming out and thinking that you might not come back and see your kids.
A reality for 2 immigrant women.
My daughters call me in the morning, Mom, be careful. I see weird cars. Please let me know if you're okay. Please let me know something.
They say that's due to the growing number of ICE arrests happening here in Hampton Roads and across the country. In efforts to mitigate fear, local organizations are working to educate undocumented immigrants on their rights.
If you have a warrant signed by a judge or magistrate, please show it to me. If you're at my home, slide it under the door.
That's what Reagan Collier with Virginia Organizing says you should say if an ICE agent knocks at your door.
You want to make sure that they have that warrant. They're there with probable cause in some kind of way before opening that door at all.
But Collier's organization is not the only one advocating for undocumented citizens' rights. Take a look at your screen. This is a graphic made by the Refugee and Immigrant Solidarity Coalition, or RISC. It lists several precautions anyone can take if you come into contact with ICE. Even knowing these rights, some immigrants say it's not enough. They still do not feel a sense of safety.
They don't care. Go your house, you broke in your car, your windows. They don't care. So even you say, I have a rights, they say, you don't have a rights. You're illegal.
Collier and a risk spokesperson acknowledged that they are not lawyers and that this is general guidance. For legal advice, they say it's best to consult with a licensed attorney. Brianna Fallon, 13 News Now.
All right, thanks so much, Brianna. And Collier also stressed while coming into contact with an ICE agent might be scary, it's important to always stay calm. We work to uncover how many people across Hampton Roads may soon see major changes to their health care. The expiration of Affordable Care Act tax credits became the main sticking point during the government shutdown, highlighting just how many people use them. Alex Littlehales joins us in the studio after finding out how many people could be impacted in Hampton Roads. Alex.
Well, Dana, this week, a public health official right here in Hampton Roads actually raised the alarm about that potential impact, and we work to find out how it affects not only just one city, the city of Norfolk here, but the region as a whole.
They're more than just data points.
We are not talking about the poorest. We're talking about a middle class, entrepreneurs and business owners who are really at high risk now.
They are neighbors across our local community.
Those are the people who are at risk of seeing their premiums go, basically double or more.
Dr. Susan Giroir took her concerns about the expiration of Affordable Care Act tax credits to Norfolk City Council this week.
While this may be less joyous and less festive,
using an open data source, citywork.io, she found more than 5,000 people in Norfolk alone rely on tax credits to help afford health insurance, now at risk for the new year.
In 2023, for example, there were $31 million of these premium tax credits that were flowing into Norfolk. And 31 million is a lot. And if those go away, that's extra money that's not flowing into our own economy.
13 News Now dug through the same data source for answers beyond Norfolk. We found that in Hampton Roads, more than 50,000 people rely on ACA tax credits to help afford health care. That includes 18,000 people in Virginia Beach and 12,000 on the peninsula.
And so the biggest risk here is people choose not to get health care coverage. And then when they have any sort of health care issue, they are paying out of pocket.
So the zip code that has the most ACA tax credit users is actually a Virginia Beach zip code immediately surrounding Town Center, Kempsville Gardens, and Aragona Village. I'm Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
Again, without congressional action, these credits expire. Republican lawmakers in Washington have signaled there could be a vote on it before the end of the year, but there is no date set in stone. Tonight, we're learning more about what led to the arrests of two Virginia Beach men accused of threatening violence against police officers and ICE agents. One is an assistant principal at Kempsville High School. Virginia Beach police arrested John Bennett and Mark Bennett yesterday. Layla Cox went to the bond hearing today and has the latest.
Both face one count of conspiracy to commit malicious wounding. Today, a Virginia Beach General District Court judge granted both Mark and John Bennett a $25,000 bond. According to a criminal complaint filed in the Virginia Beach General District Court, a Norfolk police officer overheard the two brothers while dining at a restaurant on General Booth Boulevard. The officer alleges he heard John and Mark Bennett talk about how they think immigration and customs enforcement agents are, quote, kidnapping individuals and something needed to be done about it. Court documents say that in that same conversation, Mark Bennett disclosed he had recently purchased an assault rifle because of its ability to penetrate body armor. The off-duty officer alleges the Bennett brothers discussed a hunting trip upon return from Las Vegas. And Mark Bennett said he would round up like-minded people. During a bond hearing this afternoon, the co-defendants' attorneys argued the conversations overheard by an off-duty officer was hearsay, and the two brothers posed no threat to the community, citing John Bennett's position as an assistant principal at Kempsville High School and Mark's responsibility to take care of their 89-year-old mother. A defense attorney stated that Mark was traveling to Las Vegas for a Formula One race with his sons. The magistrate's office approved bond for the Bennett brothers. The VPD Special Investigation Bureau is now handling this case. Under pretrial supervision, Mark and John Bennett are to have no contact with each other, no possession of firearms, and remain confined to their homes unless approved. Otherwise, a GPS tracker is mandatory. In Virginia Beach, I'm Layla Cox, 13 News Now.
Virginia Beach City Public Schools says John Bennett has been employed since 2009. The Bennett brothers' preliminary hearing is set for January 23rd. Tonight, the search is on for a missing Hampton Roads federal firefighter who hasn't been seen since Monday evening. Investigators say Pedro Aparicio's phone has been off ever since, and family, friends, and his fellow firefighters are growing more concerned by the hour. Derek Lytle went to the last place he was seen and spoke with a coworker about their friend's disappearance.
Dana is here in Pasquotank County off of Horseshoe Road. It was the last known place that 23-year-old firefighter Pedro Aparicio was known to be seen Monday evening around 9 o'clock. Now, the sheriff's office and his family say his phone has yet to be activated since Monday, and they have yet to hear from him. Early Tuesday morning, Pedro Aparicio did not show up for his shift as a federal firefighter in the Hampton Roads area.
Coworker saying, "Hey, have you seen Pedro?"
Kimmy Prado normally works the same shift as Aparicio and says it is unusual for him to not check in, and they are scared about what may have happened to him.
For his safety, or what's going through his mind, or what, like why, I think that's what we're all thinking about.
President of the local Federal Firefighters Union, Tim Welsh, says it has them all worried.
His phone's been off since Monday night. And again, for a 23-year-old, for that many days without a phone being active, it's kind of odd.
Social media posts asking for community help locating Aparicio flooded with comments speculating he may have been picked up by United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, though it has not been confirmed by authorities. Someone who identified themselves as a family member commenting Aparicio is a U.S. citizen. Welsh says regardless, the fact he is unaccounted for is scary.
Comment section on some of the social media posts it's frightening. It's 2025 and it's the world we're living in today.
Wanting their fellow firefighter to be found safe and return home.
Very hard time just in general with the world, and just hearing that one of our guys is missing during the holidays, just gives us, a heavy feeling in the air right now.
Now, Aparicio is described as a Hispanic male, about 5'4" in height, weighing 150 pounds. Now, the sheriff's office here in Pasquotank County recommends anybody with any knowledge about his whereabouts to give them a call. Let them know if you've heard from Aparicio. Here in Pasquotank County, Derek Lytle, 13 News Now.
And you can call the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Office at 252-338-2191.